as Green Berets, we're called the quiet professionals. You don't see a lot of Green Berets getting up and being on TV and, becoming movie stars and look at me, look at me, look at me. I wrote a book and look how cool I am. Because the community doesn't support that structure. You're pretty much looked down upon for doing that. It's become a little bit more acceptable, but it has to do with your intention. If your intention is to bring glory to the unit, is to bring knowledge about the sacrifices of your team, to explain like how much these guys sacrifice, how amazing they are, and even what they struggle through and what help they need, that's generally acceptable. But if I was sitting on here and telling you about my war efforts and the mission that I did and the guy that I killed and the guy that I saved and the monkey that I delivered, that's just self-glorification, and that's not something that's acceptable in our community. SEALs are a little bit more accepting of that. Not all of them.
I was listening to an interview Chris Williamson did with, I'm trying to remember the guy's actual name. This is his YouTube name, Mr. Ballin, and he
He's
actually,
a SEAL.
yeah, but he, he's known for doing these true crime stories now. That's what he does on YouTube. But he said when he started, he was talking about his training and stuff like that, and this was, civilian life. He's done with the military. He's doing something else. And he's just like, the level of hate he got when he started posting. And so he was saying, no. He's like, yeah, I mean, there are SEALs who are very famous, but you will get a ton of hate if you start talking about it. And yeah.
It does happen. I think maybe the SEAL community is shifting in that direction. It's a little late. Like, we know everything from like the color of your underwear now as a SEAL. Our community largely just had that mentality to begin with. And so we never let it really flourish. I think the SEALs were just maybe with good intention. They tried to glorify for recruitment purposes, and they had these cool commercials where some guy with like all black is just jumping out of an aircraft in the middle of the night and it just says Navy, right? And they're like, who the heck does that in the Navy? Like, you're in boats, you're in submarines. Why is this guy jumping out of a plane? Do you have planes in the Navy?
Yeah.
Right. So I think a lot of that was like marketing for the Navy to recruit, which was great because we needed guys. I mean, we were really hurting for bodies in these long wars that we engaged in. But I think guys got out and they had cool stories, they had great experiences, and they were like, I don't know what else to do. And people are asking me about what I did. And it just so happens that I did do some cool things. And now I'm talking about it, but it's really coming across like I'm bragging about myself. And then other guys were doing it and other guys were doing it. And they started making really good money. They're selling books. Let's be honest. If you're a 20-year veteran of any special operations, chances are you might have a cool story to tell.
Yeah.
Maybe one, right?
Yeah.
So is it wrong for these guys to get paid for that? Is it wrong for them to be compensated for their 20 years of service? I don't really think so, but it falls back on, I think, the intention. Like,
right.
What are you actually trying to do? Like, are you just trying to glorify yourself to sell your products and your things?
Right.
A little bit of integrity, I think, gets pushed aside when there's money involved.
Sure. Yeah. So, so he's one, right? Jocko's another. Goggins is another. The thing I think's interesting about Goggins is he was kind of discovered in a way, just because he's crazy.
Yeah.
Like he was discovered because he's doing a 100-mile race by himself, and some guy's like, "Who the heck?"
Like repeatedly.
Yeah, like who is this guy? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, and he's never run a marathon. And he's going to do it. Like, just there's something different about that guy. You know what I mean? And so like he kind of got discovered, I feel like, but. Yeah. But I think another reason that SEALs in particular, maybe maybe this is, I'm just throwing it out there, but we're in California
Sure.
and it's very iconic, the training on
Sure.
the shore of like the San Diego area coast. And that image just stays with you, right? They're all like interlocked and the waves are coming in. And
Yeah, and you think about it, this is a mysterious unit. This isn't something that you see every day. These are elite athletes. They're, I don't know how to express, like when you compare the performance requirements of a special operations individual, you can only really compare them to a professional athlete in terms of their performance and their expectations. Except the professional athlete gets millions of dollars and he gets treated by the best doctors in the world and he gets the best food in the world. He has his own chef and he travels in luxury and he sleeps in luxury and he dates a supermodel. What do we get? We get grade C food, which is what they serve in prisons to the military. We deny most of our injuries just so we can continue to do our jobs. I've had guys that had broken bones that refused to admit they had broken bones so I could get them off of a deployment or off of a mission. So these are guys that are willing to suffer anything to do their jobs and to make their teammates proud and to protect them. And that's not a personality type that you run into very often. So, I mean, the community, like people in general, they know, okay, SEALs do this crazy cool stuff, but they don't see it. They don't hear about it. What they do is secret. How they do it is secret. What they use is secret. So when you garner all this mysterious like cover around what you do, what you eat, what you say, where you sleep, everything. Yeah, dude, there's one running down the shore.
yeah,
Or there's one coming at me in a Zodiac.
yeah,
It's memorable,
yeah,
right? I mean, we did a really cool thing as Green Berets. We invited our families out one time and my kids were down on the ground and they're like, everybody look up. And we had jumped out of the airplane above them and we were parachuting down into the group. Like that was cool,
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun to be able to interact with civilians like that. I think that, we just have very different community acceptable policies in terms of like how much we share or what we share. I think honestly, to give credit where it is due, there's a ton of SEALs coming out right now that are very upset with the guys that have made reputations off of the backs of teammates, right? And not everybody did that, but a lot of people did take credit for things they didn't do or took credit for what a team did and didn't mention their team. So people aren't very careful in that nature, and I think the SEAL community is really pissed off about it. In Delta, for example, like they will erase you from the records. You never came to Delta. You never did this. You never did that. Just because you mentioned something about being in it or did something with it, or I mean, that's exaggerated, but that's the kind of mentality that there is about sharing. Like you really have to have a good reason. You have to be very careful what it is you share.